I'm going to change tack a little bit and talk about some specific examples. We in the water industry like to think that we're at the centre of all things sustainable. And it takes us a bit to recognise that we are, but a part, a really important part. So today I'm going to talk about two examples. One, a joint venture that we have entered into to redevelop some land that we would otherwise have just sold off. And another, just some early ideas of what our plans are for the redevelopment of Fisherman's Bend. Down. So, how many of you are South East Water customers, or do you know? How many don't know who their water supplier is? Almost as many. So South East Water is the retail supplier, and we cover an area, an enormous area. 3,600 kilometres. We've got 270 kilometres of coastline all around Port Phillip and Western Port. We go from Port Melbourne at the mouth and everywhere south of the Yarra around to Portsea and out past Pakenham on Western Port. So it's a really big area. 1.7 million Melburnians get their water from us. And we are in the process of transforming the way that we deliver utility services, and not just in water, energies as well. And the partnerships and the collaboration and sustainability are absolutely central to that. In the past, we remain a monopoly service provider. Nobody else can provide you water if you live in South East Water's area. And we used to only provide you one kind of water, the one that's centrally provided, comes from our dams and potentially our new desalination plant. And we take away, so really there's very little choice. You got what you got and you didn't get, well, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Now we're really changing that, and this first example that I want to share with you is one where we are piloting a whole lot of new ideas. So our Aquarevo is it's the old Cranbourne wastewater treatment plant site out in Lyndhurst. We have done a joint venture with Villawood Property Development. We could have sold this land and just let anybody do anything. But we decided it was a really good opportunity to do something different. And that something different is to pilot a whole range of different water technologies and water solutions. So there are 460 houses. The aim is to, as a demonstration of a better way of, using water, getting to reducing the reliance on the dams. We're about to. Melbourne is projected to double its population in the next 30 years. And how do we do that and provide that same standard of urban amenity and living if we do things the same way that we've done before? We don't have more land, we don't have more water. We can build another monster desalination plant, but that's really expensive. This is about looking at a different way of doing it. So the why we've done it, we're really wanting to showcase all of the new things that we've done. I'm going to go through some of them, and if any of you are sort of engineering nerds, you'll probably really love it. There's a lot of remote controlled assets and data mining and remote controlling and balancing flows and pods. I started life as a modeller, so I really love it. But what we're doing is we're reducing the size of the infrastructure. So the outcomes will come a bit later, but the outcome is we want to provide water to these homes using 70% less of mains water than is used in all of our existing suburbs. And we're going to do that by providing some pods of recycled water, but also by taking ownership of the rainwater tanks. And the rainwater tanks will provide hot water. That has the added benefit of reducing the size of the stormwater infrastructure, and that provides for a lot of green open space. I have to say Villawood has been an excellent JV partner in this. They have a really common vision with us, and we'll be talking later about partnerships and partnerships with the private sector, and that that finding the right partner who has the common vision and the common aspiration and where your benefits are aligned is a really essential to success. So I'll just skip down So one of the key things that allows us to reach the 70% is rainwater tanks being used for the hot water inside the home. Now, you might think, well, that's been happening in country areas. People have been drinking rainwater tanks, drinking water from rainwater tanks. However, in the 70s, we had a legislative change that if there was a mains water supply, you could not have a rainwater tank anymore for water quality purposes and health protection in urban areas. So people haven't been allowed until recently to have rainwater tanks. And if they do, up until now, you couldn't use it for your hot water and you can't use it for drinking, you can only use it on your garden. So we've been able to demonstrate, and it's taken us until only 2 months ago to get the Department of Health to agree that we can put water from the rainwater tanks through the hot water system, in the home. And that's been a really, really big step. So, these technology partnerships that we've done have also been challenging the regulator to think about risk in a different way. So that's been a fantastic outcome, and that's going to benefit everywhere else in Australia because our regulators all get together. So here are the key outcomes. We're going to have the drinking water that's going to be down by 70% compared to normal homes. We'll have wastewater leaving the site down by 75% because it'll be gathered, treated on site and redistributed to homes and green open space and the ovals. The stormwater runoff that would normally just fall and need to be collected in big drains and delivered to Melbourne Water and then out to the bay is reduced by 25%, held at the house in the tanks and going through the hot water system. And we can do this, we've got this really nifty little control system. So the thing about a rainwater tank is that when it's full, everybody wants a full rainwater tank because it maximises their potential to keep using it. But then what happens when it rains again? So you've got the same rainwater problem. So what we've done is we've worked with the Bureau of Meteorology and we've got little controllers on each of the tanks. And when there is forecast to be more rain, the tanks sort of empty a bit for whatever rain is projected to leave room in the tank. So there's an early discharge of water, so it reduces the flooding, and it leaves room in the tanks for it to be refilled from the roof. Now this is the first, that kind of, remote controlling is, what allows the reduction in the stormwater runoff and provides the reliability of amenity of being able to have the water available for hot water. And that's really new, and we haven't provided services like that, before in our utilities, in our water utilities. So we're really excited to see how that one works. All the houses are also going to have solar panels on the roofs, and the information that it gives the householder from all of the technology that we've put in about what's happening with their tanks and their rainwater tanks. They'll also have the information from their solar. And so, these 460 householders are going to be able to, see how much they're using of everything on a, almost real-time basis. So it'll be interesting to see of the 460, how much behavioural change and what the feedback is, on the whole. We've already got people. I mean, our managing director of South East Water, Kevin Hutchings, is one of the most out there gadget geeks of all time. And he's already, he can see his rainwater tank on his mobile phone and he can empty it and turn it on, and he's testing our sewer pods and he can, save or discharge, and he loves all that stuff. But he's what I would call an outlier. So this is going to be really interesting to see, what happens with 460 normal families and how much knowing changes the way that you use. Because until now, you've only had a bill every 3 months and got no idea. So that's Aquarevo on a small scale. Now we're going to be thinking about this in a much bigger scale at Fisherman's Bend. The partnerships will be different. Clearly it's absolutely huge area, 5 different precincts, 80,000 residents to accommodate, a whole lot of work. I'm sure you've all seen all the planning for that, and the employment precincts. And when you look at that little map, at the bottom, and where it is, smack bang in the middle of Melbourne. of all Melbourne's oldest parts. And the trick for us with Fisherman's Bend as service providers is that we're trying to put 80,000 people where there used to only be 200 in an area that has been serviced by old infrastructure. So the sewers are the size that they are. The water supply pipelines in are the size that they are. And they're sized for 200 people, not 80,000. So when you think about plonking that many new people in an area that is constrained, it's exactly the same constraints as you would get with transport and roads, but we just, most people outside of water utilities don't think about it that way. So that's why we're thinking about the way that we do the same things that we described at a household level at Aquarevo in a big precinct way at Fisherman's Bend, with recycled water and sewer mining and partnerships with buildings and capturing stormwater and recycling and really changing the relationship that we have with the people who live there. So that's pretty much what we're doing. This is what we see is our role, and it's a changing role. It's changed from, we know what's best for our community, public health is our reward, flashing away. Public health is our reward, and we know how to do it, to something where we're really thinking about how we maximise the resources that we have, how we partner with our communities to change behaviours and provide choice and preferences, and do it all in a way that minimises loads and reduces flooding, and works in conjunction with other partners. We've had boundaries around our organisations, and one of the best insights I learned was at a forum where we were talking about Aboriginal heritage and Aboriginal culture, and one of the guys said, well, we think about boundaries, not as separators, but of places where people come to talk. And I think if we think about our organisations and our different disciplines in the same way, we will come up with much better solutions. So that's what we're trying to do at South East Water. Thank you.